I started buying from a local deli and selling it to my friends. It got to a point where I was selling food at the back of my car. I can't continue doing this. I've got this burning itch to start my own business.
Moving it from, the millions over time, hitting barriers that you would never even thought of or even existed.
Hi, I'm Jake.
I'm Nayns.
We're co-founders of Jake Nayns,
and
we
we're
are unemployable. Listen, I need to find me a job. This thing ain't working out for me anymore. And he went, I can't, you're unemployable. I was at the top of my game. I was being poached left, right and centre. How can I be unemployable? Entrepreneurs do not sit there and say, I've got a plan, I've got a strategy, this is what I'm going to do. They have a vision. They don't have a plan towards it.
It gets to a point sometimes where they think they know better than you, but then sometimes they're not close enough to the business to make that kind of decision.
No, nobody knows the business better than you do.
The key thing with any VC is you're getting into bed with someone, and I didn't think we realised that at the time.
Okay, welcome to the Founders Lock-In. It's a late one, boys. Thank you so much for joining me.
It's all right. Anything for you, John?
So good to have you. So good to have you in our lovely pub. Thanks for coming by.
You did promise me a pint and some pork scratchings, and I'm not seeing any.
Well, listen, we don't have a pint, but we have so much other drinks that we can give you. What should we go? You've started your mojito.
I'm on the come off. Mojitos at the moment.
Okay, you're going with the can of
I'm
Naans.
actually being the sensible one and having water.
Nice, I like your style.
He's only doing that because it's on film.
But anyway, so we've got Jake, we've got Nayns from Jake and Nayns. Is it Nayns or Naynesh?
Nayns.
You like Nayns, yeah. It is, isn't it? That's what I thought. But you boys were in our watch list in 2023. You have been absolutely growing like the clappers. The brand is everywhere. This must feel validation for is always, whenever you start to a founder, there's always a lot of pain to get a product going. Was it difficult at the beginning, starting this?
Yeah, it was mentally hard. I don't know. I don't think you look at it that way. You just have this vision and you've got that perseverance and you just keep pushing. When we sat down before you started just now, I just said to myself, I can't believe we're actually here. Yeah, you don't look at that sense of achievement. It's just that constant pushing.
Which bit, ITV or Phoebe or both?
No, with you guys. With you guys. When I look at all the people that you're dealing with and that you're interviewing in there, to be within that same arena is so humbling for us.
Sometimes you just don't take time out to appreciate what you've done, because sometimes you're actually in the pits working away. Yeah. You got your head down, grinding away every day.
But you're so right. There are some cracking brands and businesses in this gang, isn't there? And I think that's what makes us so proud, and is why we're having the best time of our lives, because it's so awesome being able to learn from the best of the best. So when did you start the business? When was the moment? I hate the cliche, the light bulb moment, but listen, this is an absolutely gorgeous product I've already started nibbling on. It is absolutely gorgeous. When was the start of it?
I was born in East Africa, came over here in 1970. I know you're doing the maths right now, but yes.
I'm not even trying.
I worked as an estate agent, don't hold that against me, just outside Milton Keynes. And when I came to see Mum in Leicester, she'd always cook for me, because I'm the favourite son, but don't tell him that. And she'd always cook for me. So whatever was left over, I'd take back with me. Got to the office on a Monday morning, people would say, Jake, what have you got? And open my lunchbox, and there was things like samosas and bar cheese and things like that that Mum had made. The quality of what she made, homegrown food, Mum's cooking is just off the scale, as you can tell.
Come on, you boys are good. You look after yourself.
Oh no, we have to work bloody hard for that. I promise you.
I've been to your gym. I've seen.
And so whatever Mum had made, we'd share. And then people started saying to me, "Oh, Jake, if you're going home this weekend, can I get a dozen samosas? I've got a dinner party coming up this weekend." And it was great for the first couple of weekends. And then the third weekend, Mum was like, I don't want you coming home anymore because I'm not making samosas all weekend. So then I started buying from a local deli and selling it to my friends. It got to a point where I was selling food at the back of my car. And I was like, I can't continue doing this. And I said to my wife, I've got this burning itch to start my own business. I was successful in what I was doing anyway, but I had this side hustle and I thought let's get
to that. You were, weren't you? You'd done I remember this conversation we had years ago. You were... It was a job, which meant it was a lovely living. It was a lovely car. It was everything that you work hard for to get. And you did what all the unemployables in our gang do. You just turn your back on it and go, sod it.
Well, you know what? It's really funny. You talk about unemployables. I was really successful in the job that I was doing in a estate agency. And when things turned crap, and I know you're going to get onto that in a bit, but when things turned crap, I rang up the agent that put me into estate agency. I said, listen, you need to find me a job. This thing ain't working out for me anymore now. And he went, I can't. And I went, why not? He goes, you're unemployable. I was like, hang on a minute. I was at the top of my game. I was being poached left, right and centre. How can I be unemployable?
So why?
He goes, you've had your own business. He goes, no one's going to hire you now because they know you're going to get back in there, you're going to work, and then suddenly you're going to want to open up your own business again. They won't hire you. And he wouldn't even take me on the books. So this Unemployables bit that you're talking about is 100% true.
Yeah, it's real to you, right?
Yeah.
So what was the kind of time frame for when you decided to go all in? Because having come to see where you operate from, you manufacture, don't you? You create your own products. You're waving the flag for British food manufacturing here.
Yeah. But I think the turning point was him. So...
Because you are brothers.
So when I was at uni, 1995, 96, that summer, I came back and he was like, oh, things have been really taking off. So I thought, I'm not doing much over summer. So I was working there. I was working at Fatty Arbuckles at the same time.
I remember Fatty Arbuckles.
So I was making money there. And it wasn't taking any money because we were just growing and I was just having loads of fun with it. We got into loads of like restaurants and hotels locally. And then when I went back to uni, I got the job working at Harrods in the charcuterie. And then about 6 months later, about January, I started working I applied for a job at Harvey Nichols. But I remember getting interviewed by the buyer. And I was telling him about all the stuff I'd done over summer working for the business. And he said to me at the end, he goes, Naynes, I don't think I've got a job. He goes, but get your brother to give me a ring because we're looking for a samosa and spring roll supplier. 2 weeks later, I had a job there working weekends. We had all of our products on the deli counter. It just took off from there.
And I think that made us realise...
Are you close? Are you mates?
Sorry?
Are you close mates? Have you
we're
always
best
been
friends.
You are?
Yeah.
Always been?
Yeah. Do you know what? When you talk about business and you talk about the trials and tribulations of running a business and why do I do it, right? Hang on a minute. I do what I love doing, which is cooking and being immersed in food. I work with my best friend and I work with my wife. How can life get any better than that? It's just brilliant. And it has to be because trust me, the shit that comes to you from all different angles.
Yeah, I bet.
You have to be in an environment.
You've got to be in an
fun.
environment where you can work together, the three of us. We have our moments, but to be honest with you, it's always for the greater good of the business and it's challenging each other moving forward. Because obviously we're in a territory that we've never been in before. We're opening up doors that we didn't know existed, starting up that business and moving it from, the millions over time. You're hitting barriers that you would never even thought of or even existed. So it's good that we bang our heads together, we move forward and we find ways around it.
But you are outgoing, you are passionate. You're so passionate about what you do. Naynes, your wife, obviously in the business. So it's the three of you. So how do you resolve it when all of a sudden the passion gets to boiling point?
We call it respectful debate. Right?
So what does that look like?
We have conversations and then it finishes with, I'm going to tell mummy you. Right?
Yeah, that's how normally
she is the referee.
Yeah, I'm just telling mum.
Yeah. But no, it's as Naynesh quite rightly said, there's a vision to the business that we have to hit, and we all have our different specific roles over it, and we're great because the three of us are very different. If you look at our logo, the fonts between me and Naynes are very different. The wife is the and in between all of that.
So the logos actually represent the difference in your personalities.
Yeah.
So Naynes, you're very bold.
I'm the smooth one. He's the hard one. And the wife is
I was going to say that's a bit more chaotic.
I'm the foundation there. That everything's built on.
We all have our own interpretations of what it is. But
it's just like when we'd be at work. We'd have our challenges at work, and every Tuesday we'd go eat at my mum's house. And we'd sit there and we'd end up talking shop because we'd been so busy. And mum banned us in the end from talking shop. She's like, that's it. You guys come in here once a week to eat. You're not talking about
so what the hell do you talk about if you can't talk? If you can't.
Honestly, everything revolves around food. When we go on holiday, right? We plan where we're going to eat first before we actually even look at where we're staying and stuff. Yeah, we went over to Thailand recently. First thing we did was book a cookery course while we were there. So it's all about the food. It's all about the DNA, and it's just about that quality and that experimenting, isn't it?
We have this ongoing joke of when we have a road trip, I'll find out where our next stop is to find out when I can eat. And if it's over a certain period of time, I'll take snacks with me. Just so I can make sure I've got enough food when I'm going along.
Yeah, whenever
it's always about food.
Whenever I'm lucky enough to get some of the new products that you send me, I always like to combine it with a call, because that is like when you get the story and you start to tell me about it, that's when you just see the passion oozing about, and that is why I find founders so infectious. It's that passion. It's just it's unlike anything else, isn't it?
It is, but it can't be that blind passion. You have to have that point where, yes, you got that passion, but then you've got to put the strategy and the strategic aspect and the formulation, and then ultimately the corporatization of all of that to get it to where it needs to get to.
Yeah.
We can all take businesses to a certain level, and then you hit almost that glass ceiling where you run out of steam over what you're good at doing, because you built the business because you reach your arms out like this and you can touch everybody around you.
Yeah.
But then you get to a point where you can't do that anymore now, and people have sort of further removed, and you need to bring that next layer into the business. That's the really hard part, that transition from that owner founder led business to then the next stage of when you're hitting the 30, 40, 50 million pound bracket and stuff. That's the really hard part. Once you've hit that part, then actually the rest of it's dead easy, because you put the team in place and you've built that trust and those ideas behind it. But it's getting to that point that's
Putting
really
the
hard.
infrastructure in place so that it can move up going further forward. I mean, like Jake just said, you can touch a lot of stuff when you're much smaller up to a certain level, and you can get to all the parts, and you can touch base with it all. But after a certain point, you're spread too thin. And at that point, you really do need to bring those people in to help you take that business much further forward.
Well, let's go into this, because if you take the size of the operation that you have, I mean, what stock? Where can you buy this? I mean, let's do a bit of let's do a bit of boasting here. You can get it in so many places. Where are you at?
So look, if you put where we are in perspective, we're in Tesco's, we're in Asda, we're in Boots, we're in Co-op, Nista Spa. We're on Virgin Atlantic flights. We're in all 1,057 Aldi stores now.
How many?
1,057. We're in all the Lidl stores. We're in the air. We're on the rails.
Well done.
We've just launched with Gusto now. So if you go into Gusto, Jake Nayns products are all across there under our brand.
Jake, listen, I met you that first time 15. I don't know. It was a long time ago.
It was about 15.
It was a long time ago,
wasn't it?
and this is mind blowing. For you to just say what you've just gone and said about the amount of places that you are at. But with you going to the manufacturing as well, you do it all in-house, don't you? You do it all yourself.
Absolutely in-house.
I think that's one of the key things that got us to where we were, was
That's brave.
keeping everything in-house.
Why? So what is it?
It's just having that control. It's obviously we can go out and sell, but not having a business that can't deliver what you are selling, and keeping it in-house meant that we had all the control with our staffing, with production, ingredients, technical, and that's where we really built something so solid for us to be able to move further forward.
But I mean, we're talking, Phoebe, about the fuck-ups. Doesn't that open itself to some royal fuck-ups when all of a sudden you are totally, I mean, you're in charge of the product, you're in charge of the branding, and you're in charge of making it.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. We've made some huge mistakes, and I don't think there's any business there that's going to say they haven't made mistakes.
Was there a moment that nearly ended you?
I think you could dedicate a whole Phoebe fuck up session to us entirely.
Really?
It's that bad. I'm only 35. These grey hairs have been caused.
You look good, man.
I'm glad he said that, because he's elder.
There are loads. I mean, our first retail account that we took over, we took the retailer for their word. And we are talking 20 odd years ago now. And we took them on their word. We didn't challenge anything. It was the first time we got into retail. And I would say to anybody, do not get into retail in a big way straight away. Earn your stripes as you go along first.
Because you need to feel your way?
Yeah, you need to
feel
make
the
those
bumps.
mistakes. You need to make those mistakes on a small scale before you enter the big scale. Because if you make those mistakes on a big scale and you haven't built that foundation, you've got nothing to fall back on. And we were only fortunate, and I cannot stress enough the fact that there's three of us in the business, and my wife as well, that we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for the three of us working cohesively together.
See, I always find it when you've got a business, no matter what problem you solve, because that's what you do as running a business. You've got an idea, you just end up problem solving, right? Because you think that's how I move forward. The way I see it is that if I've fixed a problem, as long as I've created a smaller problem than what I had before, I've made progress. If I've made something bigger, I'm like, shit, I need to go backwards on that one. That's how I measure progress, because we will always create another problem as long as it's smaller. That's the way you got to look at it.
Yeah.
I think there's a monologue that Rocky does in Rocky Balboa that I've got.
You posted it
We've
before.
actually got it printed.
I was
up on
quoting him
the
in the
wall.
interview before and I had
Yeah.
to stop myself.
And it was. It's not about how hard you can hit.
Yeah.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurs do not sit there and say, "I've got a plan. I've got a strategy. This is what I'm going to do." They have a vision. But they don't plan towards it. It's the issues that you deal with along that way and how you get over them and how you learn that moves you forward. And that, for me, coming along to the Phoebe events, there's been so many amazing people I've met. Steve Hewitt I met when I came over.
Big up,
to one of the
Steve.
events. Steve actually came to the site last week.
Did he?
He was amazing. Kept it
Did
real.
you feed him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Give me enough to feed our family.
I'm not saying Steve likes loads of food. I don't know where I'm going with that, but yeah, I'm glad you did feed him.
But your network is so important for us for that, which I think we've only ever missed maybe one or two events.
I know, yeah, I love it.
You meet so many people.
Come in a couple of weeks to fuck ups, right?
Yeah,
But you know
absolutely.
what? It's nice meeting people there who have been obviously very successful, but then they've also hit brick walls as well. And it's good how they've dealt with those kind of problems, finding out ways to get around it, because each business is similar in some ways, but they have their nuances. And you might have dealt with a problem slightly different to me. Right, I'll give you a perfect example. When we had problems in the factory in terms of controls, we put like supervisors and deputies in place. So one of them was watching the other one, or there was always someone in place. So they were just being policed better, basically. But this came from someone I'd spoken to about construction, and said, because that's how we got over the problem. So that they were buddied up, but they had a deputy. So there's one sheriff, one deputy, and that kind of thing.
That is different, isn't it?
Yeah, so it was just a nice way of doing it, and that helped me grow, helped us grow, from the 3 to 5, and then we just bolstered up that team really, and now we're at a point where we've got QCs and technical and team leaders and everything going in.
How many people you got in the gang now?
130 now.
You employ 130.
Do you know
people.
what was crazy? We're just having, so Naynesh has done a great job recently in reconstructing the site. So we own all the factories that we're in, and he's been adding a whole new floor and all sorts of stuff, because we're running out of office space now. We're having to hot desk, and we're building a whole new floor in. So
It sounds like
we're
chaos.
measuring it.
I love it.
Organised chaos.
It's organised magical chaos, eh, Susie? It's
That's I'm going to use that from now. Magical chaos.
Magical
I like
chaos.
That. I like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah, so it just all of a sudden.
I'm just going to get my head around magical chaos. I know the truth.
Yeah, it's organised chaos.
It's anything but magical, right?
Yeah, but we're putting in offices and stuff, and we're sitting there, and I was talking to Malvika, our head of marketing, who's been helping design the offices. We were talking about desks and stuff, and 20 desks. I was like, we don't need that many desks. And she's like, but actually, Jake, we need that many desks now. Forget the fact that we're growing and growing and growing. This year we've grown probably by about 50% this year now. And we're looking at the same growth year on year on year now, with the plans that we've got and the people that we've taken on and the customer opportunities that we've got now, and the products as well. All of our products are in growth.
Need to touch some wood.
We went through the marketing plan yesterday, and Malvika's got a great plan ahead for what we've got going on and stuff.
Malvika's in the house, right?
She is. Where is she?
Shout out.
So yeah, there is tons happening in there. That's what I'm saying. It is hard, but actually, when you think you're doing something you feel really happy about doing, it doesn't feel like work.
Listen, let's just go into something. This is. I don't mean to be too contentious, but I do. But speaking to someone last week talking about VCs, they got quite emotional. They got quite het up, and they're saying they have so much power, but sometimes they really can fuck it up. You've had experience, haven't you, where it's not been all roses?
So my therapist has said it's okay for me to talk about it now.
Okay,
Is that why you
Without-
hold that drink first?
Yeah, I've got alcohol in my hand here now.
Can you?
Great for moth, thank you. I'm being serious. The therapist says I can talk about it. I don't need to sit in a corner rocking backwards and forwards. It was a fucking nightmare. We had a fantastically profitable business. We were growing. I needed to take the business to the next stage. I lost confidence in myself. We wanted to go down the retail route, and I felt, do you know what? We're food service based, which is industry based. and I want to take it I want to take it into retail. I didn't have the confidence myself to do it, and I look back on it now and I think, what an idiot. I did have the confidence. Why didn't I just display
So why
it?
did you not think you had the confidence?
I don't know. It just
It's like I said to you, we were moving into new territory.
So it's the unknown.
We were the unknown, and so you are going to feel a bit
Of course.
unconfident because that particular point there was an investment to put in, and it is scary to do something like that, but you just say fuck it and do it, right? But it was still something that was completely new to us.
But why is it so? Why is it? What was it that made it so difficult?
But you try at that point to mitigate risk as much as you can. And the risk aspect was, if I went into retail in a big way and the product did what I thought it was going to do, we didn't have the skill set to be able to navigate retail. Retail is a whole new beast. So we sat back and we said, look, let's bring on a VC in there. We actually presented ourselves to 4 or 5 different VCs. All VCs offered because we had a great business.
Yeah. So that was flattering for someone who was finding the confidence-ish aspect quite hard. That was validation. That was...
It was, but I never ever had any fears or doubts of where we were at that time.
Okay.
What I had fears of was where we were going.
Okay, got it.
And I didn't have experience of all of that, or so I thought. And we went down the VC route, took a VC on, and it was, I think, probably the single worst decision we ever made. I'm not saying it's wrong for everyone.
Absolutely not.
It was wrong for us.
Yes.
And the people that we took on were wrong. The dynamic didn't work. The people that they put into the business were tearing it every which way. I'll give you a perfect example. We went into a football stadium with our product, and they said it was into Wembley, right? And we really, really like the product. Can we trial it? They bought 3,000, I think it was, only a small amount, to trial an England-Brazil game, sold that game there. And we went back to them afterwards. How did you do? Oh, we sold out straight away. It was one of Naynesh's accounts. We sold out straight away. We love it. But the fan zone have come back and said, can you make a slightly bigger one, please? Because they want to feel that they're holding on to something a lot bigger. And we're like, great. Went to the board meeting one day at the VCs, and they said, how did you get on at Wembley? Yeah, they love the product. We've got now the opportunity to go back and actually put it on full time, but they want a slightly bigger product. So we're just developing that bigger product, put it into them. No, you can't do that. And I'm like, why not? They go, because you're in Tesco's at the moment, right? And if you put a bigger product in there, it's going to confuse them. I was like, hang on a second. At that time, we were on a trial in 25 Tesco stores, yet you had an 80,000 occupancy in Wembley. How would you trade off a Wembley listing, the biggest stadium in the country, against 25 Tesco stores? Okay, well, I'll tell you what we'll do, instead of calling it a normal loaded naan, we'll call it the fat loaded naan or something. We'll change names.
We call it the XL.
Yeah, or the XL, or do you know what I mean? Something like that. Do it. No, you can't do that. You need to go back and convince them that that's what needs to happen. That wasn't going to happen. It was never going to happen. And we went back to them, and the door was closed.
Because you've been told what needed to happen, right?
And so we lost control. And what they forgot was that they invested in the business because of what it was. And actually they came in and tried to break that dynamic up. Well, that was so stupid, because why would you break up that dynamic that made the business successful in the first place? Yeah. What you should be doing is feeding that and supporting that and keep driving that forward. And they didn't do that. And it got to a point,
it gets to a point sometimes where they think they know better than you. But sometimes they're not close enough to the business to be able to make that kind of decision.
No, because nobody knows the business better than you do.
Exactly. And so that's where that stumbling block, and then, we just kept hitting brick wall after brick wall, and it was just, we were so demotivated. After a certain point, it was just getting so frustrating because we were just getting challenged on everything.
I feel like it's
trying to move the business
deeper
forward.
than that, right? Demotivated was it deeper than that? Because you're getting really frustrated talking about it.
It was, and I think the lowest point for me in particular, I don't think I've ever said this actually, but I think the lowest point for me in particular, I went to the gym and they do a health check, and when I went in for the health check, they do a blood pressure check as your first thing, and she went, oh, that's a little bit high. She carried on doing the rest of it, and then she took my blood pressure again, and she went, oh, okay, that's gone up a little bit more. And I said, okay. And she goes, you might have white coat syndrome. And I said, what's that? And she said, oh, white people in white coats stress you. I said, listen, love, you don't stress me. What I do for a living stresses me. All right. And she goes, well, look, let's just talk about holidays and stuff, and I'll remeasure it again in a short while. And I said, okay. And about 10 minutes later, she took my blood pressure again. And then she went, pull it down. And then she pulled out this statement and read this statement. And she said, look, I hereby rescind your gym membership until such time that you get a certificate from the doctors to say that you're okay to come back. And I was like, are you for real? And she's like, yeah. And I said, well, how do I get my blood pressure down? And she goes, by exercising and stuff. Well, you just banned me from the gym. How am I supposed to do that? And she said, no. She said, you need to go to the doctor. You need to get it checked. I can't let you back in until you bring your blood pressure back down. Whoa. And I said, okay. I said, look, I'm going to go to doctors next week anyway. I'll sort it out then. She went, no, I don't think you understand. You need to go now. And I was like, okay. And I walked out of there traumatized. I sat in the car and I did get emotional. And I rang my wife, and at that point, all I saw was my girls getting married, and there's a picture of me in the corner. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And we were, I think, 18 months into the VC deal, and they were just tearing the business apart. It was horrid. The business has plummeted at this point. We were not in a good state. We'd go to a board meeting and just spend 2 hours having the shit kicked out of us.
Is that how it felt?
Well, we had one situation, one particular one that I remember when we brought this new customer on, and we were putting the costings together. And I was like, it's very simple, guys. You just need to make more money than it's costing, right? And the accountant and the assistant accountant, they refused to go into the factory to go and have a look at what's going on. And they used to sit in the office saying, no, if we're doing this is the costings that we need to put together. And I mean, to give you a perfect example, when we did get rid of them, the costings went up by double. That's how low they were pricing it. So the business was always going to be doomed if they weren't making any money.
So how did you get out of the situation?
They actually went bust in the end.
So you had a lot of luck.
Well, we had a lot of luck. I mean, there was a whole new battle in between the 5 or 6 days it took us to get the business back. So it's important for me to say that we got the business back in 2013. And when you think that really effectively start date for us was 2013,
really?
Because that's when we got the business back.
It's the rebirth.
It is, but we didn't start from ground zero. We started way back down there because we had to build ourselves up first, get our confidence back up. And we had to get the confidence back up in our customers, our suppliers, our staff, everybody back up get to that ground zero. Yeah. To get to that ground zero before we could build up. 6 years later, we bought 3 factories. And the day I got the keys from there, I just went really quiet. And my wife said to me, aren't you happy? And I went, I am. And actually, do you know what? There was a massive deep swell of emotion at that moment. Because I'm like, I just can't believe we've just done this.
You've done it.
And I didn't speak much that night. Probably because I was drinking alcohol a lot of it that night. But I didn't speak a lot that night. I rang him first because we were actually away on holiday at the time. I rang him first. The Naynesh, we've done it. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I'll see you later. Bye. Put the phone down. And I told my wife when we got back to the hotel and we had a few drinks and stuff. And next morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, I got up and I went and sat by the beach looking at the sea and just taking in what had just actually happened. Because 6 years ago, that's not where we were.
I think one of the things you've got to remember that when 2013 came along and we were like, shall we do it? Shall we do it again? Shall we not do it again? One of the most wonderful thing was we had about 5, 6 of our key customers and they actually rang us up and said, if you guys take the business back, we'll support you. We'll even pay you pro forma so you can get back onto your feet.
That's how much they loved you.
And we actually said, you know, it's not about the money. And like you said, we were down there. We thought, right, that was a real big pick me up for us.
And the staff as well, wasn't it?
And then what we did, we only lost 1 customer out of all of them. Everyone supported us. And then within 6 weeks, we were back on the shelves at Tesco's and Sainsbury's.
Brilliant.
And you know what? That was us just saying, right, that was a good a turning point in like, right, let's pick ourselves up, let's do it. Our customers are supporting us, they want our products.
Can I just ask there's 2 learnings we need to get from here? And the reason I'm so grateful you've shared this is because I think there's 2 sides to the coin. One is, what do you need to look? People will need VC money. People will need money if they need to grow. What do you need to really look at to make sure that you're making the best decision? And secondly, what advice do you give to VCs in terms of how they treat founded businesses? So 2 questions there. Let's start with the first one.
With regards to VCs, it's just, I mean, ever since then, with anyone who's said they're a VC, we've said, right, we're not talking to anyone. It's 100%, 100%, like twitching, like back off, really, just arm's length, keep my space. I think the key thing with any VC is you're getting into bed with someone, and I didn't think we realised that at the time. You know, you're saying, "Oh yes, we've got this money coming in, we've got some expertise coming in to help us." You know, yeah, we're going to fly, we're going to do this, and you know, it was literally straight away the parachutes were on. You know, the car was limited to a certain speed straight away, and we're thinking we didn't realise that. And as soon as things started to go south, they become even more and more tyrant, I guess. That's just how it happened, and it just got spiraled downwards. But so you are literally getting into bed with someone, and that because you're giving up your baby, something you've built for so long, and then you're watching it crumble with other people making a decision for you because they think they know better.
Did you do enough due diligence?
I think that Naynesh has done a great job explaining what we went through and stuff. So the advice I would be is understand them a lot more, spend some time with them first. So it's not just because they come in and they do their due diligence on you.
Yes, you
do your
due
diligence on them, because you're giving away a percentage of what you've built.
Yeah, it's your baby.
Exactly. So no, you need to understand them first.
And the advice to them working with found-up businesses, what would you say?
They've got to understand the dynamic of the business, and actually, if a VC wants to make it work, they need to be transparent from the beginning as to where they want to take the business and what their route map is. Because you're bringing them in because they bring a certain level of experience with them.
Yeah,
they'll put non-execs on the board, understand what those non-execs are there to do, all right, and understand where they intend on taking their business and what their pedigree is as well, and then maybe even talking to the businesses that they've just come from before you go to the next stage, and then for the VCs to understand your dynamic and actually support you to deliver those results in there, not dictate on delivering those results.
Okay, brilliant.
So there's got to be that trust there as well, that you know they allow us to continue with what we are doing with the support that they're giving us.
Yeah.
But definitely they need to know the business better than what we did.
So thanks for sharing that. I mean, let's therefore go to now then. I had a lovely what do you call it? Pins and needles? No, it's not pins and tingly. You know, you're talking about all the retailers that you're in, which is just nuts. Absolutely nuts. If I go back to that conversation, all those years ago. What have been some of the things that have enabled you to now start to really fine tune this baby and make it what it is? Are there any nuggets that you brought out that along the journey from the rebirth in 2013 to now you can say, this is what we did and this is why it was successful?
So literally when that happened in 2013, Jake, we all agreed. Jake went straight back out on the road again. I hung up my car.
You enjoy that, do you?
Yeah.
You love hustling, right?
I hung up my car keys and I said, right, I'm going back into the factory.
Okay, and you love that. You love the efficiency, the operation.
I love it, but it's essential. But I'm good at it, right? Putting that infrastructure in place was key. I mean, what they'd done to the business, they'd put so many people in there, right? That people were clambering over each other. So I started getting rid of people, streamlined it. We streamlined some of the lines that we were putting into it, automated very quickly, and that putting that infrastructure in place meant that our profits turned around very, very quickly, and we were obviously able to get into all those customers. And when they came on board, the other customers and the retailers that we got into, it wasn't a big deal for us because we were able to ramp up our business very, very quickly.
So the nuts and bolts then.
Yeah.
You went deep in terms of really getting
I just literally just dived back in, and I don't think I've looked up for 12 years now.
It is really important to say that Nancy, the third member.
Yes, let's talk about Nancy.
So I refer to her as my wife, which obviously she is, but she's a person in her own right within the business.
Yep.
She just happens to be my wife.
Yep.
She's the finance person, or was the finance person in the business, so she's got it to where she's got it to now.
Yeah.
But actually, as time's gone on now, we've taken on a finance director and a managing director as well, and stuff like that.
Hey, have you found that then? How managing director? That's interesting. The managing director.
I think it's been really good. It's been about a year or so now, isn't it? With Simon,
year and a half,
and obviously with Ted coming in, but those guys coming in allows us to go back to being what was strategic. I was operational before, but I was just submerged in everything day to day.
Yeah.
So I was never being fully effective, and it's only in the last 6 months as they've come in, been able to actually step back from doing the day to day stuff and actually start looking at, the investment that we've put in with getting building work done, so I can actually concentrate on being strategic, taking the business forward, and obviously sustaining the business that we have got. We've grown by 50% this year, has been a massive strain on the business, but we're managing to.
What's the biggest strain you felt?
People.
Really?
People, yeah. As I said at the beginning, you've got a certain skill set that gets you to there. Then suddenly you make that leap, and then it's the skill set that you need to get you to that stage. But imagine from that moment where the blood pressure and stuff happened, the self-confidence and the self-belief that we have now, to be able to recruit people that are non-family in hugely management positions, to put a non-family MD, a non-family FD in there as well, who are then running that business day to day. So while we're sat here now, they're there managing the business and running that business was a huge thing for us to do.
You to let go.
The first board meeting I went to, I sort of sat there, I was just mentioning to Cameron just now, it felt like The Sixth Sense. They were talking about my business, our business at the time. And I'm like, I am here, guys. Right. What do you mean? I was like, you've done all these things. That's the sort of stuff I would have done normally.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, would you have done it any different? I'm like, no. They go, so what's the problem? I said, yeah, but I would have done it before. Trying to relinquish those roles was really, really hard.
Yeah.
If you're sitting in a car at 100 miles an hour, maybe 80 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour on a motorway, right? And you're driving along, and then suddenly you let go of the steering wheel. It won't be long before you grab the steering wheel again, because you don't trust the car's not going to veer off lane.
That's a good example.
That's exactly what I'd done. I'd let go of the steering wheel. We were still going. In fact, we were going faster now, and my hands were off the steering wheel. And that was really, really hard.
Yeah.
But we all get on really, really well as a team. We must do the amount.
It's been essential to have that culture in there, because for me, the staff that doing all the work, the handmade stuff, those are the essential ones. Those are the ones that are getting that food out the door, all the orders out and stuff. And it's something that I really realised when the pandemic was there, that those staff that turned up, they helped us. At that point we'd lost 75% of our business, but by the end of it we'd actually grown, and it was those guys that supported us. And so we're really careful with who we're choosing to come into the business, because that culture's got to stay the same, if not just to feed onto it. There's staff this floor staff are just so essential to us.
But that was my question. How do you therefore, because we hear some horror stories that bringing in the wrong senior people into the business, because you can have such a conflict, you can have such a misalignment of where you want to take the business. How did you get it so right?
I wouldn't say we got it right from the beginning.
Okay.
And the people that we've had that we've now promoted to higher levels never came in at that level.
Okay.
They came in at lower levels first.
Right.
And they spent a year, 2 years or so in there before we then promoted them up to the next stage. And we didn't, and it's really important to say, bring them in with the proviso that we're going to promote you up to that stage. They came in as commercial manager or finance manager. That's the job they were doing. And actually, as we built that trust and we built that confidence, we then took them to the next level. These are guys now that the business finishes at 5:30, but I don't tend to leave till 6:30, 7 o'clock, because that witching hour post 5:30 is when you get the most work done.
Yeah.
And they'll all be there, and they're still working. And we have a great relationship in there. It helps. A lot of it's centered around alcohol, but we have a great relationship together. And the food industry is a shit show most of the time.
Yeah,
It's
tell
so
me about that as a
difficult.
sector.
I mean, when we think of
so many different things, isn't it?
When you think of what's come our way, whether it be Brexit, whether it be the pandemic, whether it be labour shortages, price increases, energy increases and stuff. 9/11 was a big one for us.
Because that turned off the tap to huge amounts of your trade.
When the pandemic came, as Naynesh quite rightly said, we lost somewhere between 2,000 and 75% of our business just
overnight.
Stopped, right? But what we had done beforehand, having been through what we've been through in the past, the government had their COBRA meetings, if you remember.
Yes.
We called ours a Viper meeting.
Okay.
Every day, 2 o'clock in the boardroom, the senior management team were there together.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there and we were looking at the wind, the wind, but not in the wind, if you know what I mean, but just looking at what was going on, picking up on the news, just working out what the mood was of all the customers and the suppliers and things like that. And we started stockpiling PPE. I'm not saying That's why the country ran out of PPE.
Okay,
But we
that's
did
relief.
have a lot of PPE.
Could get hot water.
But we were stockpiling PPE, we were stockpiling ingredients, all sorts of stuff. You know, we had somebody every hour going around spraying sanitizer on all touch points in the business. So, you know, kettle handles, microwave handles, door handles, banisters, all sorts of stuff. They were spraying them. So the staff saw that we were investing in their safety.
I see.
Right? When the pandemic actually happened, so I think it was March 23rd, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Lockdown actually happened.
2020.
We had trucks that went out the day before, and then actually they were turned away at the gates at the other end and sent back to us. Even though we had official purchase orders, they were sent back to us. So we were bringing this stock back. We didn't have the space even to store this stock now.
Like I said, it was
do?
going to that environment where it's completely new territory. There was no guidelines as to what to do. You know, we had staff that were really worried about what's going on, but we're giving them PP. And my argument to them, the staff, was that when you leave here, you don't wear your PP, but you go into the shops and stuff like that, or you're walking past people in the street. Here, you got full coats, gloves on, hats on, and everything. And it was just changing that people's mindset. But the main thing for me was to make sure I looked after those staff, because they're the ones that helped us through that period.
And I think we only had 2 staff that wouldn't come back to work at that point because they were scared. And I don't think that was the reason that they didn't come back in. But we gave them PPE, and we actually gave their families PPE as well.
Wow.
We gave them stuff to take home.
The big thing for us at the time was actually we changed our marketing message. So where people were buying our food to travel, to go to work and things like that, they weren't working anymore now. They were either furloughed or they were sat at home. So we were now saying, okay, what do you eat yours with now? And we did a whole marketing campaign as you can still buy the product, but you can eat it at home with salad or chips or whatever else. And that actually meant, and this is really surprising, and I think we were surprised at the results of it in the end, although it was what we were striving towards, that we managed to recover all the business that we lost. And actually that year we grew by 14%.
Really?
Which was such a big turnkey for us. Just to have recovered that would have been great. But to have grown as well was really good. Again, that was just a testament to the team and how we all worked together.
Since then, there's been so many things that hit. You know, if you look at Brexit, was a real big thing for us. I was about to get listings in Finland, Denmark, Sweden. Just killed it. Brexit killed them all because you just couldn't get product over there. And then if you think about it, there was a war that happened after that. There's been one thing after another. And like I said, the food industry has just been battered by so many different areas. And it's still the same. The supply chain's still not caught up with what it was pre-pandemic. So you're essentially, you know, the prices now where we're paying double for a lot of our ingredients. We've not been able to pass those costs onto the customers yet.
So it's back to how hard you can get hit and keep going
Yeah,
forward.
exactly. So,
that's the fun trying to find, not fun, I wouldn't say a word. I'll take that back straight away. That's the challenge.
That's the
challenge, right, of trying to make things more efficiently so that you're not passing the full price increase over on, but you're giving at least a little bit of price increase to help mitigate some of those costs that you're absorbing.
Yeah.
And that's where it becomes a real balance of trying to make it all work.
Yeah. So coming full circle, the journey you've been on, the things that you've been through, the highs, the kicks in the gut, of which there will have been many, but you are in a position now of considerable, dare I say it, strength. The business is in a great position. Yeah, everything is looking good.
We were out on Monday night, myself, Naynesh and Nyanti, and it was a very rare moment. We actually sat back, and it will always be me that sits there and says, listen, guys, do you realise we've done this? You know, I guess it's easy for me to say because I'm outward of the business looking in. Naynesh and Nyanti, unfortunately, are the ones that are in the business day in, day out. So they get bogged down with all the stuff that's going on.
We had cheers and a drink and said, right, but tomorrow morning we've got to get this sorted out. But that's just how it is. Your mind's honestly fixated on it. But it was nice to sit back and actually take it in for a moment because it was a lovely evening.
But the feeling is only there because we're so passionate about what we're doing and we want to get it right. We want to support all the people around us.
Yeah.
You know, we have a responsibility to the team back at base, and whether that be a shop floor employee or management in there. We've got a big staff party tomorrow night. There's 100 odd people coming to the staff party tomorrow night. We've put on full drinks and food and dancing and presents and all sorts of stuff. And we're actually calling out 5 of our longest serving members tomorrow. So we've booked spa days for them and stuff. And
You care deeply about your people.
Staff love it, you know. It's just a combined Diwali and Christmas party, and we did miss it one year, and they said, "Oh, we're not doing it." We couldn't do it because we were so busy. We ended up doing it in January,
Right.
Because everyone was so upset we missed it.
Yeah.
So this year we're like, right, every year we've got to do it, and they're looking forward to the games that we're playing. My sister's, who works in the business as well, Nisha, she's organising games to play. We played the simplest game of musical chairs. Oh my God, I've never seen them get so competitive.
I literally pushed out of the way.
I literally thought they were going to get into a fight. Yeah, it was so funny. I mean, she's the most timid of workers. But the way she was running around, I thought she was going to rugby tackle him at one point.
And listen, before we finish, we've got to give a big shout out to the amazing city of Leicester. I mean, I'm from Leicester. That's the place of this amazing company. It's so many great things come from Leicester, don't they? I mean, the football team maybe at the moment
I think we're lucky
not as
with
glorious as it was, but
I think we've been really lucky in Leicester because it's obviously so multicultural. There's so many different areas there, and you know the food that you can buy in Leicester. I think we're really spoiled. There's so much choice.
But it's about communities, isn't it?
Yeah.
It takes a village.
Yeah.
And it's just being able to talk to other people. You know, I love coming to your events. And I know you have your events in London. I wish you'd have some in the Midlands, you know.
we're working on it. We're working on it.
But to take that time out to come to one of these events is a big thing.
Yeah.
But we do it because the events are just so brilliant, and we learn from so many people. The speakers and stuff that you've had in there have always been fantastic. We just always take so much away.
Yeah.
And it's the same in Leicester as well. You've got so many other food businesses. You think you've got the biggest crisp factory in Europe in there. You've got Sandworth Brothers in there. You've got so many different businesses out there.
Yeah.
You know, Sandworth have been brilliant. We can pick up the phone to them to say, can you help us out with this? And they've been there for us.
Really?
And so you build up those
Big up
communities
Sandworths,
and
right?
stuff, you know? Yeah. And then we also give back. So we talk at the universities about entrepreneurship and stuff, and things like that, and help out on that. So it is perpetual, you know. We do give back on that.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's been a joy to get you into our pub, having known you for so long as I have, and to have kind of been on that journey with you from
I remember that conversation.
yeah, I do. It's deep, wasn't it? Special.
Yeah,
I think that's when I guess the connection really started. But it's lovely to hear the business going from strength to strength. I haven't been actually, I think, in 3 or 4 years
You wouldn't
to
recognise
HQ.
it.
I've got to
It's
come.
changed quite a bit.
Yeah. Maybe we're thinking of a cribs. Do you reckon a cribs? Is there a Phoebe cribs that we could do? That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, just give me 6 months. Yeah, let me just finish off what I'm doing. All right, yeah. Yeah.
Let's do that.
Let me get some paint on some of the walls and stuff. Maybe in the new offices you can bring everyone along.
Yeah, but listen, 3 lovely people, nicest people you could ever wish to meet. Wishing you all the success in the months and years to come, and thank you so much for being a part of our gang.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you very much, Sean.
Listen, we're going to do 6 questions. Shoot from the heart. Don't overthink it. You ready to go?
Yeah.
All right.
Go for
First
it.
question. How would you describe the life of an entrepreneur?
Challenging.
Yeah, amen.
Rewarding, I think, actually. You do it. You do it. You become an entrepreneur so you can act on the decisions that you make, right? I'm going to run it by anybody. You act on those decisions. Don't get me wrong, you then also have to act on the mistakes that you make as well. But as an entrepreneur, it's about having that freedom to be able to act on what you want to go ahead and do. So I think for me, I can come in the morning and say, right, guys, I want you to do something, and it will actually happen.
What do you wish you knew before you started your business?
Margins.
I think it's how much you take home with you. You don't realise, obviously, because it's not a 9-to-5 job. You go home and your mind is distracted because of what's happened that day, what you've got to get ready for the next day. And I think that's one of the biggest things you don't realise.
Yeah. What have you sacrificed to build your business?
For me, time with the girls.
Really?
Time with my daughters. I missed out on that. When the girls were young, we were right up against it at work. I dropped my my oldest off at my mum's house, and my mum would give me a call about 9ish to say she's bawling her eyes out. She doesn't want to have a bath. She said you were going to pick her up. She's waiting for you. And I'd have to go and pick her up, and she'd wear my hoodie and sit in my office. And this was before there was internet that she could watch and stuff like that. So she'd sit there on my laptop just messing around stuff. She'd be like, Daddy, can I wear your hoodie, please? Because I had to go back in the factory again. So I missed out on that time with them. And if I could get that back, 100% I would.
I was fortunate that I had a bit more time at home with the kids and stuff, but I wasn't always there, although I was with them, because my mind was so distracted with what we had going on. That will always sit with me, heavy on me, because that's the time I can't get back, which is why I then try harder now.
What's one thing no one tells you about the life of an entrepreneur?
To make that money in it initially.
Yeah.
You're up to your eyeballs in debt for ages and ages and ages.
Yeah.
And then slowly it sort of starts.
It's true though, isn't it? It's a lot. It takes time before that money can
But
start
do you know
to
what? I think if an entrepreneur goes into business for the sole reason of making money,
Ain't gonna do
it's the wrong thing for them.
Yeah.
The money is a measurable byproduct.
Yeah.
The success that you're looking for is the market penetration or getting your product out there or seeing that grow or innovation or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the success.
Yeah.
The money then comes along afterwards, which means in those formative years, you are screwed when it comes to money.
I think building up that business and having that staff has been the biggest journey for me.
Yeah.
How essential these people are within the business, and having the right people in place is taking it forward. Because I always say to a lot of the staff that if you take on someone on and they're doing only 50% of the job, you've got to pick up that 50%. And if you're already at 100%, things are going to get let down. So essential having those teams there.
Yeah. And if you could do it all again, what would you do differently?
Get a job. Stacking shelves at Tesco's. It's got to be a damn sight easier than this. Trust me. What would I do differently again? I think just be a bit more forthright. It's just having that confidence, not arrogance. There's a big difference between confidence and arrogance, but it's just having that confidence to drive through what you were doing, to have that conviction and keep pushing through, which we've had perseverance. And I know these are all different words, but there are slight differences between each of them. But it's just having that confidence to penetrate the market that you're going after.
Wish I'd followed my gut more. Because my gut's always been right.
Yeah.
And sometimes your head gets in the way of what your gut's thinking.
Yeah, go with your gut.
Go with your gut. If you're too calculated, you wouldn't be opening up a business.
Yeah.
So, you've got to follow your gut. You've got to have that dream and get other people on board onto that vision as quickly as possible, because that's where the success lies, is having them on board. Because I can have the greatest idea ever, but if I don't have the team behind me to help me execute it, it's just that idea is just going to sit there. And just having that team behind them, getting them in line with what you want and what you want to move forward. But yeah, definitely follow your gut.
Yeah, love it. Boys, you're the best. Thanks for joining.
Always the pleasure.
Today, you're great. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks very much, man.
Thanks, boys. Okay, next up is Jake Carrier from Jake Nayns. Over to you.
Do I get a practice shot first?
No.
No.
So you're now getting competitive.
He's taller, isn't he? Throws it.
No, don't start blaming it on height.
He throws it a bit nifty. Oh, okay, that's gone down a bit.
I'm alright.
What are we on, Dan? So you just got 3 from his...
Don't laugh so loud. Naynes, I hope you're good. Is it collective? Is it
No,
two
no,
is collective?
no, mate, no, sadly not. Oh!
Really?
Oh! Oh! What are we on?
41.
How are you saying? Just the way you were holding it, you look so,
139, mark
you look so proud, didn't he? Right, okay, next we've got names up. You ready? Let's go.
Let's do it.
Oxygen.
Whoa!
Yeah, good. Yeah.
What we got?
Are you in a hurry?
42. Okay, wow.
Okay, go on.
Josh.
Guys,
Mate, it's okay. You
never
can.
played before, but
No, you've
if I'm at the top of the board,
No, this is great.
thanks, guys.
Right, I'm gonna. What are we on?
25.
67. 67. Wow, that's been a game of some dodgy quality, but it's all good. No, mate, I've already had my go. There we go. Thanks for joining us.